Steve and I have a 2014 Mazda 6. In this video, we're going to show you how to do a transmission service on it.
Okay. All right, we're going to take the cover down off the bottom of the engine because we're going to be doing a tranny service. We have to access the tranny pan and the drain, and the fill plug for it. So we've got some 10mm bolts and we've got a couple of button plugs here that we're going to pull out, try and salvage and reuse. No, we picked up some new ones. Got one there. Got another one over here. These things get pretty brittle over the years, you know, especially when you live in New England, and not really guaranteed they're going to come out. So if you have a universal plug kit, you're going to need one. This stuff is so brittle, it's just all breaking.
Yeah, we just had these out not that long ago.
I'm going to cut that one out. Let's try it for this one. Here. This is one of the plugs that we've already replaced. Okay, we got one over here. Boy, these replacement plugs are a lot nicer. Okay. All right, now the rest are. We got one more over here. Okay, and the rest are 10mm that we're going to take down now. We're gonna do a training service on this 2014 Mazda 6, and we've got an 8mm Allen plug here that we're gonna crack loose. And we're gonna get our pan close to it. We can drain our fluid, you know, into the pan. We're probably looking around 5 quarts of fluid here. And this is hot, so it's gonna. Looks like there's a little steel washer here. It's gonna stay stuck to the pan. So, yeah, the fluid's pretty dirty. So, we were hoping to see some pink here, and we ain't seen anything.
We ain't seen no pink.
So, you know, we're gonna just do the filter and fluid on this, and then, you know, probably the next oil change, we may just do a drain and fill to try and get the fluid color to change, because we're gonna put 5 quarts of this, and it's not going to really make this stuff too pink. You got probably 6 quarts in the torque converter, 5 quarts in the torque converter of this thing, so you're never going to drain all the fluid out of it unless you start it, fill it, run it.
Yeah, drain it.
Yeah,
and do that for a couple of cycles, and that'd be the way.
At the same time, you don't want to take too much clutch material out of here. But when we get the pan down, we're going to take a look, and if there's a heavy clutch material in the pan, that's not a good sign. So once we get the 10mm off of this pan, we'll take it down. The dealer gave us a filter. We got a filter from the dealer, and I guess they're using like an RTV to seal up for the gasket. So we're gonna get this down in a couple minutes, and we'll come back to you.
The airbox off.
Yeah, but we can check this on an oil change if we take this cover down. Okay, so we just got the plug back in. We're gonna snug it up. We got our 8mm socket. Okay, that's snug. Now up here is the fill plug. We have right up here. It's got a little 10mm on it, and we're gonna use our suction refill tool that our friend Brian got us. Hopefully it's not going to blow up and make a mess again this year.
Yeah.
But it's got a little curve on it, and we can pop it up and then fill from here. We can use our suction gun. You know, you have some options to do this, but you got to get the cover off so you can get in here. So let's get the 10 millimeters cracked loose by hand, and then we'll use a little zip gun to take these things down. All right, so I'm just going to go and crack all of these loose by hand, because you know, you got steel bolts going into an aluminum case, and I don't want anything frozen or tight, because if it breaks, then I got to tap it. And it's probably not going to break, but you want to
Don't jinx yourself.
just crack these things loose by hand. You don't want to put a zip gun on, break it, then it's too late.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it to seal up if you got a bolt missing.
All right.
So I just got a deep 10 mil here, and I'm just cracking them loose. We've already drained the pan, which is nice. See now this one right here, this one's kind of
stubborn.
tight, you know? So I got to take a little time with this one. And I'm going to try and get some penetrating oil up over the top. There may not be any over the top that I can get at.
Yeah. So if you got one that's a little stubborn, you can work the bolt back and forth, take it
Yeah.
out slow instead of wrenching
Yeah.
it one direction. Because as you wrench it in one direction, you're twisting the bolt inside the casing. You don't want that to happen.
No, and it'll heat it up. Okay. So give me these two that I got to work.
Yeah.
This one and this one.
Alright. Now we're gonna go the other way. So you might have to walk these a little bit.
Yeah.
Couple turns one way, then go back the other way a couple turns.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna let it sit for a minute, cool down, and go to another one. That one seems to be okay. That one's okay. That one's okay. All right, so I got two that I gotta work here. Boy, that's getting tight. I'm gonna get the mirror and see if I can get some oil up on the top side of this thing.
We're gonna work on that, getting that bolt out, we'll get back to you.
Had two holes that the very last thread started to come down. A little bit of aluminum threads came down on the nuts. Tried wire wheeling them. We're either gonna have to thread chase them or we're gonna replace them, these two. But we worked them back and forth and we got them out. Now all the rest of these we can just zip out with the gun because they're all loose. Well, didn't get that one.
So Steve, on those other two bolts we just showed,
Yeah,
the threads stripped on there, or?
the bolt thread, some of the threads came out of the aluminum case.
I gotcha. Yeah, you gotta watch out, this aluminum stuff, we know what we're doing, and it's real tricky with some of it.
And we forgot one that we had to crack loose. Okay. You know, if you think that they're not coming out super easy, you gotta take them out, then you gotta inspect your threads to make sure there's no damage. So there's a little rust on the end. We're gonna run them on the Y wheel. We're gonna probably never seize all of these before we put them back up. And well, let's get the rest of them out. So that fluid's gonna be leaking your way, Tony, so.
Good point. Well, no, we took it out.
We did, but if there's any residual in the pan,
Ah, yeah, you know
the
what?
pan's
This,
gonna drop down now.
yeah, there might be still a little bit left in there. Hey, thanks, buddy.
Okay, so I'm leaving one in. I'm gonna put a second one back in, and then we're gonna pry the pan down and break the seal.
It's all fun and games, so you break the seal.
Yeah, see, even these bolts, man, you gotta be careful. This thing doesn't really feel like it wants to start again good. So we're gonna be thread chasing and wire brushing all of these holes. Let me pry that down from the back. Just want to be gingerly, but I don't want to really bend the pan.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for the block because it's aluminum in the pan too. So, but being careful with it. Just want to kind of work your way around
There it
to
goes.
break
It's
it.
starting to, just being gingerly to break the seal. Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so we can get that last bolt out. Okay. Alright, so now it's the timer.
There is
Yeah,
still
look.
some fluid in there, huh? Jeez. You're right.
We want to look in here on the magnet and see what the magnet looks like.
Go to the bench.
A little bit of metal in here, and we've got pretty much a thick, heavy clutch material on the magnet here. So it's kind of, there's no real chunks in here, which is good, but there's a lot of, you know, clutch material and some metal on the magnet here. So the fluid was dirty. We're gonna, you know, clean this all up, and this magnet has got a lot of material on it, and you're never gonna know until you get in here and look.
Yeah.
So we've seen worse. So we're gonna clean this pan up. You know, the little metal, it's not a lot, there's no big chunks, but you know, it's a sign of wear for sure, you know. So we'll get this pan all cleaned up. We're gonna get the gasket taken off of it, and then we still have to run a tap. And I believe it's a 6mm by 1. I'll let you know what size it is so that we can spray all the holes in the case of the transmission to make sure all the bolts are going to run up nice and clean.
So one of the things that aggravates the crap out of me, Steve, on the internet is everybody says, don't change your transmission fluid, you'll ruin the transmission. The clean fluid's not what ruins the transmission. It's shit like that ruins the transmission. All the particles floating around from the clutch.
Yeah.
So if you change the fluid, this fluid probably has 111,000 miles on it. A lot of fluids get changed to what, 50, 60? And then
50,
around,
yeah, 60. You know, if you check your fluid level and it's clean and pink, then you should be good. But in this case, you know, the fluid level was dirty, and so we needed to find out what we have. So we're going to clean this all up, and we'll wipe this all down. Like I said, there's no chunks in here, which is good, but you know, it's definitely showing that it's got some wear with the clutches.
And the method we're using, we're doing a drain and refill. We're not using a machine to pump the fluid out through the valve body and stuff like that. So this is a lot safer way of doing this.
And you'd never see any of this if you did a drain and fill with it, if you just sucked it out with the suction thing, or if you did a drain and fill, you wouldn't know what you have in here.
Yeah. But what I like about this car, Steve, is it has a drain plug on the transmission
right.
pan. A lot of cars don't. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to scrape this gasket all off and tap our holes out and make sure those are good, and we'll come back to it. So we're just scraping the gasket, and then we're going to use our die grinder with the rubber cookie cutter on it. There's some grooves in here you can just scrape out, and we're just giving it a quick scraping until we get the die cleaner. You can, you know, hit this with a wire brush. You can, you know, just keep working it with this, you know, razor to get it clean. We're putting silicone, the red silicone from the dealer, back on it. It's going to be the same thing. We want to make sure that we look at all the edges are straight on this, that make sure none of the nipples are pushed upward, because then you'd have to tap them back down. You want to make sure the surface is flat. So if we feel any of, like if it was over tightened and any of these are pushed up, then you want to take a ball peen hammer and just tap them down to get them flush. So make sure you get a nice sealing area.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just running the bolt up into a couple of these that the threads came out. I have another bolt. I don't have a tap here. I'm going to see if this works out. If not, I'm going to have to get a tap.
So basically what we're doing is cleaning up the threads on the housing here. So the problem with aluminum. You try to be careful, you try to be careful.
And these bolts are longer, so I'm gonna have to either shave. I have some of these longer bolts. I'm gonna have to, you know, cut them down a little bit. Yeah, let's get this last one. I think it was this one that was.
Let's fight here a little bit.
Yeah, we'll do these three. These are the only ones that were really fighting us. All right, so we took our file, little tiny file, and we just filed the edge of the threads down here, got the groove cleaned out, because some of the aluminum from the tranny pan came into it. And then we just ran this on the wire wheel again and got the rest of the debris out. And then we sprayed the holes on the pan. I don't have my tap here. And then we were able to run these up, and they run up nice and smooth. So we were able to salvage these two short bolts, which is good. And the rest of them, we're gonna wire wheel them right now to make sure that they're all clean. And then we're gonna pull the filter out. So just give me a minute to wire wheel all of these.
So if your bolts came out nice and easy, you don't need to do any of this. Those last two bolts on our pan were a little tough, so we just want to make sure that they go back in nice and easy, and this is what we're doing.
We're just giving this tranny pan a quick scrape, getting the red residue off as much as we can. We're gonna run a little piece of sandpaper over it after to make sure it's clean, and we're gonna take the filter out in a minute. I'm leaving it in right now to do some cleaning, because when I take it out, you're gonna get more stuff that's gonna drain. It's just gonna be more of a mess on me, so.
We're gonna work our way around the housing here, get the rest of this gasket material off, and we'll see what's next.
We've already wire wheeled all of our bolts, and we fixed our threads in here, just ran up. You know, we didn't have a tap, but we were able to run up another bolt. The threads are clean, and we showed you how we cleaned the bolt. So our pre-work is done. We're just getting ready to finish cleaning this, change the filter, and we can get the pan back up. All right, we're gonna take the tranny filter down. We got a couple of 10 millimeters here. All right, so we got the second 10 millimeter here for the filter. I'm gonna start taking this down. It's got two rubber O-rings holding this thing on. Let's get this bolt out, and then we'll grab the filter.
There it goes.
We're gonna clean our holes up here. Just pop in, should hold itself up in place. I'm gonna catch our two 10 millimeters here. Got one here, one on the back side. I'm going to snug these up.
You got a nice clean filter to catch all that material.
Yeah.
So it's just like your oil filter, guys. You need a transmission filter.
Yeah.
It's important, right, Steve?
Yeah, you should do it at 50,000 when you got a pan that you can get at it and your fluid condition doesn't look good. And we should get in there. We're just snugging these up a little bit. They don't have to be too tight. And you can see the dipstick right here. And that's the 10 millimeter up on the top that we're going to take out to pull the dipstick out. We're also going to fill through the same hole up here. So, yeah, the fluid is dirty on it. So
a lot of the auto manufacturers are going this way. They're putting these little stupid dipsticks in here. If there's one even at all, I've gone to the days of a nice long tube that's stuck up above the motor that you can pull the dipstick out of and refill. So this is what we're having to do lately. It's annoying.
So this is the sealant they gave us from the dealer. We're putting it on the pan. Don't need a really thick coat. All right, so we got our gasket sealant on. We're gonna set it up in place here. We got our filter in there, and we wanna try and catch a couple of bolts here.
Yeah, usually if you can catch a couple of corners, it'll pull everything in line for you.
That go in the bucket, damn it.
Steve's going fishing.
Trying to get the bolts to start easy. That one don't want to start easy. That one does.
There you go.
Gotta get a little. It's not easy. Let's try this one. I gotta get the rats. Put your hand on that. Trying to get our bolts to start. Some of them don't want to start too easy. Okay, so we've got them all snug, caught I should say, and we're gonna start snug them up. Some of them we had some issues with, you know, getting to start.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, we had about 3 stubborn ones.
Yeah.
We had to mess around with them a little bit to get them to go in right. Not everyone will run up against it like we did, but this is what we had to do to fix it.
Yeah, New England.
We're just snugging these up.
Oh, we got one more. We had the one that fell in the drink.
Yeah. Steve went magnet fishing. That seems to be a
So
thing.
that's snug. That's snug. That's snug. You can feel the pan bottoming, so you just want to get it to that point. Okay, we got this one there. Working our way around. And you'll feel it when you get them snug. You know, you just don't want to over tighten them. Okay, we have this last couple here. Okay, so we're cracking that 10 millimeter loose for the drain plug.
So we were at
Crack loose. Let's get the 10 out and we'll pull the dipstick out. And we're gonna fill in through this hole. So we pull this up now.
So that was a 10 millimeter screw.
Yeah, 10 millimeter bolt.
Bolt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. And it's
You gotta get that little tiny dipstick out of there. So if you need to check the fluid level, the transmission fluid, this is how you need to do it.
yeah, it's kind of a pain.
It is a pain.
And it's got a rubber O-ring on it, and it's never been out, so it's tight. I'm trying to break the seal on it by twisting it, and
Here it goes.
There it goes.
There you go, buddy.
all right. So we'll put some oil on this O-ring, make sure it goes in a little easier, and so now we figure we're gonna put at least 4 quarts in and then check it. And the hole is probably this, it's the size of my pinky, so we got a tube to fit in there. We got a couple of routes that we can use. We can use a suction gun, which I might just use the suction gun because I have it out, it's available. It'll probably go in quick and easy that way, so let's see. All right, so we came in over the top with the suction gun, and we're choosing to fill it instead of getting our other transmission fill thing out. This will go just as quick.
Oh, you can reach it that well?
Yeah.
Made that look easy. I was spilled that all over the place.
This is Steve we're talking about.
So this is the route we're going with this for the refill on the pan.
So we got 4 bottles, we're gonna get in it, and then we're gonna be able to run it and check our level.
Okay, so we put 4 quarts of transmission fluid in there, and we're gonna run the transmission through the gears, and we're gonna check the fluid level and top it off, right, Steve?
Yeah, and we put some lube on the O-ring, so it's dropping down easy now.
Okay.
So we're good with that. So, all right, let me get it down, we'll get it started.
You got a jumper.
See, we got 4 in it, and it's still got no mark on it for the cold level down here.
Okay.
So we're gonna start it.
What should it
put
take
some
about
more.
5?
Yeah. It's 50 degrees Celsius and 120 degrees.
Okay.
We're trying to get into the sweet spot in here, it looks like. Right in the area there.
So what we just did is customer Nick is up in the car, slowly went through all the gears, backwards, forwards a couple
Shut it
times.
off.
That gets all the fluid into the valve body. So now we're gonna top it off. So we gotta add a little more in.
Yeah, I'm gonna put another quart in. Okay, it's starting to get a reading. Starting to get a reading. We're looking at another half and a quart. Yeah, another half a quart, I think.
Okay.
Shut it off.
So let's put another half quart in. Check the level.
Okay, we're right in the middle. We're right in the middle right now, and the training ain't too hot, so we're going with 5.5 quarts is gonna get us to where it needs to be. Okay, shut it off.
Checking around under the transmission pan. Nothing seems to be leaking, so that's good. Gonna get the splash shield back up. There you go. Nice.
Light up some of the, put the light under here, Tom. I can
Yep.
see some of the holes.
All right. I'm gonna put all these screws and butt plugs back in. You see okay?
All right, let's get these in. And then we got some button plugs that were damaged. We're gonna change them out. And we picked up a new cover for the oil filter change.
No, yeah, Nick's cover had
It's missing.
dragged on the street.
Get that one in there.
That's pretty much it on the transmission filter replacement. We're just wrapping up this splash shield right now. And if you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment. I will get back to you. Thanks, guys.